You may have heard of the name Bethuel Mbugua, a Kenyan genius who made headlines back in the late 1980s and early 1990s due to his amazing intellect as well as unique understanding of complex scientific concepts at the tender age of 9. Today on the show, Bethuel narrates to us his journey from the stress of being the talk of the town to the difficulty of being raised in the United States. His journey has not been an easy one. Well, I was able to catch up with him in his office at International University, and this is his experience.
The whole understanding within myself that I'm from Kenya is the one thing that I've that always kept me on my toes. And I felt that if I could not succeed in America, based on what I went to get, then I would have failed even myself.
Bethuel Mbugua is no stranger to living under the public eye. From featuring in newspaper articles to doing television interviews, being a trending topic on social media, to even giving public lectures in various universities across the country, Bethuel has seen it all. But when did he first discover that he was gifted?
When we moved to a place called Rorie in Kalau, it was there that I was able to join school when I was 2.5 years old. And it was there that the teacher actually convinced my father that she found that I was intelligent enough to actually be able to learn, to go to school as the other children.
And true to her words, upon joining Rorie Primary School, Bethuel began excelling in his studies, and by the age of 6, he was already in class 6. Noticing that his son was too bright for the then education system, Bethuel's father decided to start homeschooling him, and it was during this time that Bethuel's fascination with science and human anatomy began.
And during that time is when I was actually at home reading microbiology books, textbooks, just learning about the human body, about the brain, about the heart, about family planning, about different types of drugs and what they do.
However, after consultations with various psychologists, it was decided that it was in Bethuel's best interest to have him join a school for gifted children. Unfortunately at the time, such schools did not exist in the country, which meant Bethuel had to fly out. This was a tall order since his father was but a simple cobbler, but luck was on his side. In 1991, Bethuel caught the attention of Professor Lenore Bloom, a lecturer at Berkeley University in California, and in a couple of weeks, Bethuel was off to San Francisco.
Living here, it was actually freedom, because now finally I can actually be me. I can be myself, I can start over basically. But on the other hand, once you get there, it's another beginning. Because that beginning does not care about your previous upbringing. So I was this African kid being put in an American culture, middle class culture, and then not even knowing how to act, how to behave.
In addition to this, Bethuel also faced some challenges when it came to his schoolwork.
For me, I was very advanced in sciences, but very, very weak in mathematics. And I remember one of the questions in the math test was what is half plus 3/4? And I remember having trouble answering that question. And here I am and I'm supposed to be this gifted kid, and yet I can't even answer a very simple math equation.
Bethuel was able to rise above, and in August of 1998, he joined Macalester College in Minnesota for a bachelor's degree in biology with emphasis in biochemistry.
But you see, these are based on expectations which had been placed from the beginning. And it was almost a tag as I was growing up that is something I need to get done. But then as I was finishing college, I realized that is not me. That is not what I wanted to do.
You were not passionate?
I was not passionate about it. It was more or less trying to fulfill what somebody else or other people expect me to do, and that is not what I went there to do. I didn't go there to achieve other people's expectations. I went there to do what I needed to do so that I can eventually, live my life. I've always been very passionate about art, and it's always been a hobby. So instead of medical school, go to art school, and I even applied. Gone to a few schools, but you see, as a foreigner, not many schools will give you any financial aid, especially public schools. And so I never pursued that line.
To make matters worse, he could not find meaningful employment when he graduated in 2002 due to the coordinated terrorist attacks that occurred on September 11th the previous year. This made it difficult for foreigners to gain employment. And so, in 2003, at the age of 24, Bethuel returned home.
I did not expect the kind of reception I got at the airport. My understanding was I'll go see my father, maybe a few, 2-3 relatives, and that'll be it. I come back and there's media, there's a whole crowd waiting for me, and I'm like, I was not ready for this. And the first words that you get from people, as I was saying, is, you come there expecting, open arms, hugs, to be welcomed home. But instead, all you're finding is people with open hands, and here I am, patting my pocket, and I'm like, all I have is $300 to start my life in Kenya with.
He eventually decided to try and make use of the knowledge he had acquired abroad and got employment at Amref International University, dealing in knowledge management under the school's library services.
I think it's very important, the work that I do, because for any institution or any organization, information is more or less like the bloodline. And if there is no information flow within an institution or organization, then like a body, it pretty much begins to die off. So you need the flow of information to be there so that the organization can actually be able to grow.
Even though Bethuel has now found peace and is happy with his life, he does have this to say regarding parental pressure.
I'm a parent now, and I think we have to realize that we put way too many unrealistic expectations on our children. Yes, your child can be smart, can be this and that, can be very pretty, and you want them to be a model, but is it really your position to put your dreams out to your kids for them to achieve them for you? And so you find that as a child doesn't have that mental capability to be able to, say no to you, or even to decide upon themselves what they want to do. But it's us parents who put so many false expectations on our children that eventually they actually end up failing.
So does he regret living abroad?
I was able to leave Kenya at a particular time in my life when I felt that my life was pretty much over. At a time when I was starting to begin to even wonder about my own life. How is my life going to turn out? I never went to a formal school. I don't have the same background as my age mates. People have lost interest of this young, gifted kid. Now what about me? What am I going to do with my life? So I have absolutely no regrets other than just being grateful.
He, however, has this to say to all those thinking of daring abroad on our Diaspora Bite.
It's not Kenya. It's not home where you're comfortable. Just leaving Kenya and going to the land of milk and honey does not necessarily mean that once you land there, that's exactly what you're going to find. Not everybody goes there and gets and achieves the American dream. For many, they have to actually work several jobs, but it's really up to you how how you deal with it.
Bethuel's advice to parents is not to live their own dreams in the lives of their children. He further cautions that not letting children determine their own future may result in depression as well as failure. For him, the best thing to do is let children determine their own future, whether it is in Kenya or abroad. On behalf of the team that was involved in this week's production, I would like to say thank you for watching and see you next week.